ASMR, if you didn't know, stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. That's better known as a tingling sensation that can be triggered by audio and visual stimuli. It's also often described as a pleasant feeling.
This is the White House's version, which it posted this week on X. It's called ASMR, Illegal Alien Deportation Flight. Let's take a look.
Let that sink in, I guess, whatever. Tesla CEO Elon Musk reposted this video on X, writing, haha, wow. And the anti-Trump Lincoln Project wrote on X, if Hitler had a social media account. Well, where to go with this? I mean, I'm not sure the Hitler comparison is great, but the official White House account posting a video of people being chained and having sort of shackles on the ground as something that would provoke a pleasant response, that seems completely gross and outrageous and awful to me. There is a separate argument to be made about illegal immigration. We have had versions of that argument on this show lots of times, but to be presenting an image of people in chains as something that should create a pleasant response or a gleeful response, I just think is appalling.
Yeah, I would say crude and jarring for White House formal communications. You know, it's almost as if they gave J.D. Vance the Twitter account and he's running it. I say that because he's a bit of a flame lord. He's an elder millennial. You know, he likes to be very, very sassy online. He was calling Mehdi Hassan a dummy last week on Twitter, which is the kind of communication you just don't expect from a vice president and a president.
Just to briefly interrupt you, I think at CPAC he said that his wife had told him to be nicer on social media.
She seems like a lovely woman, and I bet she has told him that. You know, I do find this to be crude. I would not say that they can't post videos of deportations. The voters clearly have asked for this. This is what Donald Trump was elected to do. And I'm not for concealing the ugliness of policy. So there's a certain element here where I want people to understand when you vote for something, such as deportations, this is what it looks like. This involves shackles, chains, the police shuffle up a flight of stairs into a plane, and you're gone. But I think it is this added layer of sort of glorifying it and saying it should give you a little tingling feeling up your spine. You know, that rubs me the wrong way.
Well, that's the thing, you see. I agree with your statement that it is wrong to conceal the ugliness of policy or the ugliness of anything in the political realm. But the problem here is exactly that the White House is presenting an ugly reality as if it is something to take joy or pleasure or enjoyment from. And I think that points to an inversion of what would be the normal moral compass. You say the people asked for it. The people certainly asked for more restrictionist policies when it came to immigration. It was one of President Trump's strongest issues.
The very popular position for mass deportations, which has risen so steeply in the past decade.
But the point about this video is, it is, I think, indisputably dehumanizing of people, indisputably taking glee at the treating people in that way or putting people in chains in a way that I just think debases the underlying debate. And I think that that is an argument that can be made specifically about Trump, but about our political culture generally over, I mean, I've lived here for 20 years, more than 20 years now. And even within that period of time, the degree to which political discourse in the United States has grown cruder, has grown more demagogic, has grown more willing to sort of take delight in people's suffering, I find very, very distasteful.
So again, I'm really with you on that top line sentiment that encouraging the nation to take delight in these things is this layer of it that I really dislike and I find to be crude. But when it comes to the individuals in that video being shackled up, put on this plane, I think this was a Venezuelan deportation.
I'm not sure, honestly.
I believe that is the case. My sympathies are reserved for the people who are harmed by illegal aliens who come into this country. For the 15-year-old girl in Massachusetts who was raped and brutalized by Corey Alvarez before being arrested and then released on $500 back into the public only to be detained again. The guy has to go back to Haiti, right? This has to be done. This has to happen, and we should care about the fates and fortunes of Americans first and foremost who are being harmed by criminal aliens who are coming into this country with zero accountability. I reserve my sympathies for those people, but I agree we should not be encouraging the public to just turn off any sort of feeling that they have about this imagery. I'll give you that.
So on the point of people illegally in this country who have committed further criminal acts, sometimes heinous criminal acts, those people should obviously be deported. I have never argued otherwise. I think that I think that it is ludicrous that people who have committed very serious crimes and are illegal immigrants should remain in this country. I don't believe in that at all. But the point about that video is we don't, and in fact, the point about the broader White House data recently is that there isn't really even all that much detail about whether the people being deported have committed any kind of criminal acts at all. And certainly there was no context provided in that clip that we showed. So to me, that clip isn't really, with all due respect, about making your point about people who've committed violent acts or sometimes murderous acts. It's about saying we're locking up or chaining up these people and sending them back. Isn't that great? You know, 3 cheers for that. And I just think that is dehumanizing by its nature.
Yeah, no, I think that there's something to be said for that. And the broader imagery is important for people to understand that this is what you voted for, this is what you get. But I'm with you. The White House should be more careful and tactful with how they encourage the best or the worst of Americans' impulses. I say they should be deporting every single person who came in at least the last 4 years without any papers or authorization. But there is a big degree of difference between doing that, doing it quickly, discreetly, quietly, and with some degree of respect for the people involved, and then making a show out of it on Twitter and calling it, you know, sensory, you know, something to delight in, ASMR. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that there, obviously a hot topic, and a lot more topics to talk about on Rising right after this.